Добри дојде во студио за Питер Ванхауте, белгиски експерт, посредник во преговорите на политичките партии во Прежинскиот договор. Yesterday you were awarded with the Order of the Crown of Belgium for your distinguished achievements in the field of democracy, spreading the democratic values in Macedonia. And you said that you will continue to work in Macedonia. What will be your next post?
I'm basically working as an independent expert on democratic empowerment. The main focus is on the one hand on parliamentary issues and see how you can get a really functioning, effective and efficient parliament. And on the other hand, in this particular case, we are looking into the possibility to draft a blueprint, to come up with a blueprint where we would like to define in different key areas of governance how we can improve the situation. Financial management, education, judiciary, the economic situation also linked to this, corruption, how do you fight corruption, the civil administration, how you can make this again functional. These are important issues that we would like to deal with in the coming months.
Who is going to pay you? The EU or EU Commission or
No, that will be independent funding, other
Okay.
institutions, independent funding.
Yesterday, also at the heart of Europe, Belgium was attacked by the terrorists, ISIS terrorists. How do you feel? How did you feel yesterday? You were a Belgian citizen, and how do you explain what is the main reason why Belgium is the main target for the extremists?
First of all, it was a very sad day for us. I really regret that so many innocent people had to die. On the other hand, I would say it's also the consequence of the international policy and also the participation of Belgium in this. If you bomb countries for many months and many years elsewhere, you cannot expect that people will not react at some point against you. Why was Belgium a target? Of course, because of the presence of the European and the international institutions, NATO, for example, which is there as well.
This is the main message.
That's, I think, the main.
Yeah,
that's of course. This is one of the main messages. What is very important, however, to know is that it's not only about foreigners targeting these kind of institutions in our country or in Western Europe. These are basically, many of them are people who grew up in our country, but were probably not well integrated. I'm living in a neighborhood myself with many Turkish families, very well integrated, but even then it is incredibly difficult for these people to find a job because you have a different name. To follow proper education, to really move forward, even that, to speak the languages, learn the languages properly and so on. These are all obstacles on the road to success. Few people within the migrant community realize and manage really to get to the point where they should be, because probably we don't support them sufficiently. And the additional problem is there is an absolute lack of integration also in terms of mixing communities. I would like to see that my neighbors are Turkish families. I would like to see that many more people would have people with a foreign background as their neighbors, instead of pushing them in specific neighborhoods like Molenbeek and so on in Brussels. I've been living in Brussels for several years, and I can tell you, yes, there is an integration problem. Huge unemployment among migrants, a lot of frustration, not really quality education. So all these issues together create this as a result.
You're aware of the poor integration of the Muslim community. There are also other reasons, according to the experts and analysis. Political instability, growing evidence of extremism as the main problematic issues in Belgium. What happened with the growing evidence of extremism there? Why it is a kind of a headquarters for jihadists?
Because we have always been a very tolerant society. So basically, jihadists and every form of extremism goes a little bit undetected. It's very difficult to touch upon it and to deal with it properly at an early stage. So what happened yesterday is again an indication that we are working on this too late, and we invest probably not enough time and energy to prevent this from happening. You need to talk and to work with young people, before they get to the age that the frustration booms and they decide to do stupid things.
And still, there are a lot of critics towards the Belgian police, towards the intelligence services, the whole governmental system.
I'm very happy, and I hope that this will continue to be the case, that Belgium is not a police state. We are not wiretapping everyone. We are not controlling on every street corner, every citizen, so we have a sense of freedom. And it should remain like that. And this is of course some kind of collateral damage that we will face probably also in the future, that has to do with our military engagements abroad for the moment. And as a result of this, but I believe also that we should never give up on really to be a free and open democracy. This is the key issue.
Okay. You mentioned wiretapping.
Yeah.
Yes, so let's go to Macedonia.
Yeah.
Of course, do you have some evidence that you were wiretapped by the government or by other institutions?
There is widespread wiretapping in this country, also collection of data from computer communication, so I'm quite sure that I might be one of the people in who there might be an interest to see who I'm in contact with and what kind of information we discuss with other people. It's not so exceptional, but the problem is they should only do that if they have a mandate to do that. And the problem is they do that illegally because they don't have a clear mandate to do that.
You were forced to withdraw your mission after immense obstructions during your post as a facilitator. What happened actually? You were called named as a tourist by novatv.mk. You were declared as a persona non grata.
Actually, what happened, I was not forced to withdraw as a negotiator. The only problem was that one of the four parties, novatv.mk, at some point refused to continue negotiating with me. Because the moment you get to the real important issues, the real topics that really matter, then it becomes increasingly difficult, and that's what they discovered. And then, of course, it's easy then to blame the mediator for whatever you don't want to do.
To kill the messenger.
Yeah, you kill the messenger instead of dealing with the message properly.
So you think that your mission failed? Actually, the media reforms are not going to be put on the table to negotiate. Why did you allow novatv.mk to dictate the whole negotiation process?
This has been the case of the beginning. They are of course quite powerful. They are the biggest party in this country, so you need to take this into account. They are the biggest party in the government as well. On any step that you need to implement, that you need to do something, they are the ones who need to deliver. It's not the opposition. The opposition is very weak. It's to a lesser extent DUI as well that need to do a few things. But the biggest responsibility for any change, for any step forward, is upon the biggest party in the country.
But I really cannot understand, because you were so persistent regarding the other issues which were put on the negotiation table. And now about the media reform, which is really big issue, problematic issue, and you are very aware of that, you were withdrawing. You were persistent, and you and the American ambassador.
Let me make one thing very clear. It's better sometimes to have no agreement than a bad agreement. We have been very persistent and insisting on having a good agreement on media. Basically an agreement where political parties would give up on controlling the media completely, including the media regulatory body, the AVMS agency. It is unheard that one political party is basically controlling the regulatory body, deciding on any violations and any fines, deciding on who gets a license and who doesn't. This is not acceptable. Instead of that, you need to have competent, professional people, independent people who can run the business. The biggest party in your country is of course very well aware that without control of the media, they will not be able to continue what they are doing, basically controlling the whole country. And this is, I believe, the main reason why they disengaged from the talks, because this is a key issue. Special prosecutor was an important topic, but media, in terms of controlling the country, is much, much more important.
Okay, and one of the important issues is also, as you said, judiciary system. And we know what happened with the constitutional judges. Their decision to abolish for amnesty of the perpetrators for the electoral fraud was really a big scandal in Macedonia.
I can only say, in your country, unfortunately, for the moment, there is no such thing as an independent judiciary. Up to the level of the Constitutional Court, in the Constitutional Court, we see that 5 judges are controlled by one party, and then you have 4 more or less independent judges. This is of course unacceptable. The fact also that these 5 judges try to overrule any decision and to decide in advance already on any decision that needs to be taken at a certain stage by the 9 judges together, this is unheard and is not in line with the principles of judicial independence. That's as far as it goes. There's no judicial independence in this country.
Yeah. And Mr. Ivanov, President Ivanov, said that he's not going to abuse this law. Do you believe him?
We will wait and see how this goes. He should have refused to use the law as a tool to pardon anyone in the future. He should simply say, I will refrain from using this law, because it's not a good idea to do this. You can consider this sometimes to create some kind of amnesty for very particular cases once they are convicted. But interfering in the judiciary by basically also blocking an ongoing investigation, which can be done by pardoning certain people, that's really over the red line. That's interfering again in the independent judiciary.
Obstructions are also made to the special prosecutor, Katica Janeva, and her whole team. So how to overcome this judiciary big mess, big chaotic problematic issue? Maybe one of the ways out is to constitute some kind of special court, maybe special department with the independent judges. What do you think?
Most important is that you have judges who stand up and who have the courage to say we are independent. That's the underlying problem. In any situation, be it using the regular courts, be it establishing a kind of separate court, a special court, or a special department within the court system, as long as the judges are independent, there is no problem. But this is the main problem. You need to have an absolute guarantee that whoever will judge will act independently.
So how to overcome this, the whole situation? Do we have chances to have credible, fair, democratic elections after these problems with the judiciary, with the voting lists? We didn't mention voting lists, maybe voting lists. You know what happened, there were 500,000 unclear names, problematic names, and now they are going to check only near 100,000, which is a big disappointment for the opposition, but also for the whole society.
There is clearly a democratic deficiency, as we call it, a problem there. I believe that either you clean up the voter registry completely, either you don't. But doing it a bit and pretending that you did the best you could is not really fair to the citizens. The citizens who have the right to know what happened to the voter registry, and they have the right to have a system in place where there is a guaranteed one person, one vote system, and where people who have not the right to vote are not allowed to vote. This is the basic underlying problem.
So we are expecting credible and fair elections, but it's impossible to have them on 5th of June.
At some point in time you need to have elections, but the problem is it would be a much better approach to first deal with the real problems, like corruption, the deficiency of the educational system, the lack of independence of the judicial system, the weakness of the administration, the public administration. If you tackle all these issues first, and then at the end we can decide when we will organize elections, but not now. It's way too early in the process.
It's too early on 5th of June to have elections. Let's go to your manner for to communicate with the public, with the Macedonian public through Twitter. Yes, with your cats, you adore cats, as I can understand.
Yes,
okay, but with their political strong messages. Why did you choose this way of communication with the Macedonian public? Is it because of the Macedonian context and mentality?
It is because we need to bring back a balance in the discussion. You can not have one very powerful party supported by the media, who controls basically most of the media, and on the other hand, a very weak opposition who is absent in the debate. So I decided to boost the debate by engaging more in social media, at least, to convey messages this way, in a bit of an ironic, humoristic way, like we are used to do this in Belgium. We are the country of surrealism, I would say. And this proves to be very successful. It's also more difficult to tackle for the big parties in power, but they will get the messages, and it's important that everyone gets the messages, whether they like it or not, that people get the message. That's the most important. That's what I'm trying to do.
Is it the way a lot of criticism is towards your expression, and so is it the diplomatic way to express your opinions, stances, to address people?
I'm not a diplomat. I'm just an independent expert. I studied philosophy a long time ago, and for me it is very important that you can be very explicit and very clear and say what you think. In that sense, I'm not a diplomat, but I believe that's the only way forward. Recognizing the size of the problems, the exact content of the problems, and then solving them. That's the only way forward. Pretending that everything is more or less okay in very diplomatic terms, that's a waste of time, certainly given the situation. We need to recognize the problems and to deal with them.
You don't live in the atmosphere of fear as the other Macedonian citizens are living.
I have to admit, I'm shocked by the many people who are really afraid about what might happen to them. I don't depend financially from this country. I'm very happy that this is the case, because if not, I might have also some fear for my family or relatives. I'm in a position that I can act independently, and I will not give up on this. I believe this is very important, that we continue to convey this type of messages, and that we really put our finger on the problems and try to get them solved.
So you're not afraid, because I'm asking you because you are very much aware of the hate speech, so how do you deal with that problem?
I always say, people, as long as they shout, it's fine with me. I don't have any problem with it. But I'm not afraid of anything. I will continue to use my bike to the extent possible and to be around with the people, supported by many people as well, because there's a lot of things, work ahead, and we should not give up on that. There is always a risk involved. We know that in every country, even in Belgium, you saw it yesterday, there are always risks wherever you go. But I think the risk here is manageable, and we will not give up on this to do whatever we have to do, because people deserve better.
A lot of journalists and activists were attacked, were beaten up, and you are aware of that?
I'm aware of that.
Okay, but there is no problem for you. You're going to continue your mission.
Definitely, I will continue. I'm not going to give up on that.
No. Okay, thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you.